Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thanks for tuning back into my YouTube channel. Last night I was working on organizing my terminal tackle box. Actually, it's a box that doesn't have everything in it, but it has the things that I go into, and throughout the course of the year, I rely on this box quite heavily. And I've kind of developed a system that I like as far as keeping things organized. And so I wanted to share that with you. I want to have a box that I can get into relatively quickly and easily, that's very organized, and it doesn't take me a lot of time and effort to get what I need and get back to fishing. So I've developed a box that has worked well for me for, I don't know, over 5 years. And I wanted to share that with you guys. And also wanted to share, I've got a Carolina rig, drop shot, and structure head type box. It's got a little bit of a miscellaneous box. I wanted to share that with you too, but it fits under the heading of terminal type tackle box with weights and hooks and different things like that. So with that, let's get right into it. So this is my terminal tackle box. And I know a lot of guys like a 3700 series box, but this is a smaller one. This is more like a 3600 size. Kind of show you, this is a 3600 size Plano box. It's relatively the same size. I chose this size of box as opposed to going to the next larger up, that 3700 series style box, because I've got a lot of tungsten weight. I'm a believer in tungsten weight, how sensitive they are, how much smaller they are, how much denser they are, different attributes that really help, I think, help you hook and land more fish. So once I get all my tungsten weights in there, it gets pretty heavy. So I don't want a really large box, because what I end up doing with a large box is I end up packing it, slamming it jam full with all types of other things that just clutter the box, and I don't want that. And of course, I love to keep things simple, and so this box, it eliminates and limits what I can pack into it. So I'm forced just to major on the majors and minor on the minors. So with that, let's get right into it. I like this style of box. I've used several different types over the years, but I like this style of box with the O-ring like this, because it eliminates the moisture that can get in there, because obviously I have my hooks in here and I don't want any moisture getting to them and then potentially rusting them, different things like that. So I really like that aspect of it. The other thing is I really like this configuration, because there's several great boxes for this type of thing, but this configuration, I love the fact that on this one side you have that one single large compartment, and I can slide in my hooks. I like to keep my hooks in their original packages, just because I know what they are, what's in there, and I like to keep them in the packages because it again keeps the moisture off of them and the potential for rust down. The other thing that I've done is I have labeled each one of my weights here. So I've got 1/8 ounce, 3/16, quarter, 5/16, 3/8, half, 3/8 or 3/4 and 5/8 right there, 1 ounce, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, and then 2 ounce. And I think I've got maybe some 2 1/4. So I also put some of my tungsten weights. The majority of these weights are Strike King Tour grade tungsten weights. I put the majority of my weights in these bags, so that when I'm driving around and I'm towing the boat, or even in rough water, it eliminates them clanking together and the chipping process that can happen over hundreds of thousands of miles on the highway. So that way it really helps to cut down on them clanking together. And I've got a few free ones now. Some of these bigger ones, they just make more sense to leave them out, because I wedge them in there and they don't move around a whole lot. So getting into the hooks side of things, this is kind of a miscellaneous little box. It's got some rattles, some Carolina creepers, some peggets, some wacky rig weights, some different things like that. But as far as what I carry in here, I carry my hooks, and then I carry my pegget type devices, things that peg the weights in place, and some rattles. We'll go right into that. I don't carry a lot of hooks, because obviously I can't carry that much in there. So I carry just you know, the nuts and bolts, just the stuff I have to have. So 3/0, 4/0, 5/0 owner jungle flipping hook. I love this hook because I feel like it does exceptionally well both with braided line and fluorocarbon. That silky gray finish, feel like I get a quick penetration, needle point, It's got a great keeper on it. I can't say enough good things about this. And then obviously it's got a welded eye, so I can snell my knots and I don't have the knots popping through right there where the hook eye comes together. I've got a lot of different peg-it type devices, and what I mean by peg or peg-it type devices are these little guys right here, which they're actually called bobber stops, and kind of give you an idea right there. They're a bobber stop type device. They're kind of tangled up, and it helps you just run your line through one of these loops, and then you run your line through there, and then you just slide those, transfer them onto your line, and that helps the weight, keeps the weight up against your soft plastic bait. And I really like those for some more of your lighter type Texas rigs and different things like that. And so I've got different kinds. I've got more of the traditional type like that. They're kind of a rounded. And then I also have some that I've found over the years that are more conical, for cutting through weeds, for going through weeds. I like those as well. Just depends on what I'm doing. May use one of those over the other. So that's what these are, is a lot of different peg style ideas that I have. And you got some beads and different things like that. That's a lot of what that is right there, just different types. But when it comes to heavier weights, I do like these guys, because Keith Combs and Greg Hackney put me onto these. These are great for, you know, running them right through the center of your tungsten weight, specifically like braided line. Helps to keep that weight locked in place on the line. It doesn't slide up and down. And I feel like a lot of times when you really swing hard on some of those fish with those heavier weights, can knock the fish's mouth open. This kind of keeps this kind of a one piece. And I feel like you get a little bit better hookup ratio with your heavier weights. So I really like these solid rubber peg-its for that. But again, I like two different types. So sometimes I use one and sometimes I use the other. The other hook that I use a tremendous amount of is a owner cutting point offset wide gap. It's more of just a traditional worm style hook. I put them in here because I like that bag a little better. And then that's the hook. It's a 4/0. I use a lot of those guys over the course of a year. Exceptional hook. I feel like it really does a great job of penetrating even the hardest mouth of a big bass as anything out there. So basically those are the two hooks that I use. And then I also got some straight shank owner 4/0s. And then I've got rattles, different types of rattles in here, and different worm rattles. I am a kind of a rattle guy. From time to time, I definitely like rattles. Then I've got spherical type round rattles also. But that's pretty much it. I like to keep this stuff really well organized. If you can see, I don't want a lot of things kind of sliding around. I like to keep them all right in their place and everything where they need to go, and make sure that I have it all where it is, where I can put my hands on it really quickly, and it helps me to be more efficient when I'm on the water. And that's pretty much my terminal tackle box. That thing's heavy. It's probably 5-6 pounds, maybe 7 pounds. It's pretty heavy. But the other thing I like about this style of box is these are a little bit more thinner plastic, and I like these for it's just a little bit beefier box. The other thing I've done down here, as you can see, I've put some foam down here. So when you're traveling down the highway, again, that rattling down the highway doesn't chip my weights nearly as bad. Just the thousands of miles, it's gonna happen regardless. Here's my Carolina rig box, my drop shot and structure heads and different things like this. Is another terminal tackle box. I like this box. Again, it's just the stuff that I have to have terminally. Here is a 3/4 and 1 ounce. Just lead Carolina rig weights. I've got some 3/4 and 1 ounce striking tour grade tungsten Carolina rig weights. A bunch of swivels in there. I've got here, let me give you a better look. Got some swivels in there, some beads, different types of beads, some different stoppers that like knot protectors and different things like that. And then I've got drop shot weights starting at 1/8, then 3/16, or 1/8 and 1/4. I think that might be 3/8 and then 1/2. And then I even have some really heavy drop shots for heavy current, like on the Thousand Islands and in the river up there. And then these have really become kind of a part of my fishing. They're the Strike King jointed structure heads, and I like those a lot. So I put these in here as well. I try to keep things pretty streamlined because you can really load the boat down. Between these two guys, they're really heavy. And if I ended up having a bigger box, I could really end up with some serious weight. So I actually use these smaller boxes to try to minimize the amount of weight that I keep in the boat, but also minimize what I have as an option in the boat. So by minimizing my selection, I feel like I can be more efficient. And obviously, you know, I love to keep things simple. But I like to have myself organized, keep things simple. So I like to minimize the distractions, the extra weight in the boat, and different things like that. But those are my boxes for terminal tackle. I hope it helps you guys. If you struggled in this area with, man, what do I put in my boat? I tried to minimize the things that I don't need and maximize the things that I do. And that's pretty much it. Those are my terminal tackle boxes, my weight sinkers, and different things like that. I thank you guys for watching this video. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Going to continue to kick out some content. And until next time, thanks for watching and good fishing.